So recently, my teenage daughter and I were cleaning out a closet in our house when we came upon this item right here. For those of you who don't know what this was the communication technology of 1989, called a beeper or a pager. Now, of course, my daughter had no idea what this thing was, so I explained to her how this worked. And when I was finished, she said to me, "Let me get this straight. So what this did was it told you someone was trying to reach you, but it didn't tell you who it was, it didn't tell you what they wanted, and if you wanted to find out, you couldn't use this to call them back." To which I said, "That's exactly correct." To which she said, "That sounds like the stupidest technology I've ever heard of. Why would anyone want that?" We've come a long way. Communication is defined as the sending and receiving of messages with attached meaning. For the past 15 years, I've had the great privilege of traveling around the world and studying communication. And as I've done that, I've noticed some specific shifts and changes in the way people send and receive information. A lot of that due to technology. Now, as human beings and communicators, we all want two things. Number one, we want to understand, and number two, we want to be understood. But neither of those things can happen if technology becomes a barrier. Now, while the pager was the communication technology of 1989, today there are 5 billion cell phones in the world. Show of hands right now. Raise your hand if you have a smartphone or cell phone in your pocket right at this moment. Sweet Jesus. Almost everybody, including me. This technology is changing the way in which we communicate. Take a look at that number right there, 2,617. That's how many times every single day we touch, swipe, or tap our cell phones. And if we are that engaged with our screens, there's a good chance that we are not looking our friends in the eye, we're not engaging with our children, and we're not meaningfully interacting with those around us. This technology is not only changing our social interactions, it's affecting our very mental health. Think of your communication the way an archer thinks of a target. The arrow you are sending, that's your message. And the bullseye on that target is the goal or objective you hope to accomplish if that message hits its mark. But remember, the archer doesn't blame the target when they miss. To improve your aim, you've got to improve yourself. To do that, there are 3 very simple steps you must take your communication through to be effective. Starting with the first step, you've got to analyze your audience. That's your starting point. Who am I talking to? What do they know? What do they not know? How are they going to feel about this information? How are they going to react? What difficult questions might they ask me at the end of my presentation or meeting? So you have to start there, analyzing your audience. Second step in the process, you have to understand how you want them to feel and what you want them to do as a result of hearing your information. How do you want to influence their emotion to motivate their action? You have to know what you want. You have to know how you want them to feel, whether you're running a meeting, delivering a presentation, or just telling a story to a friend. And the third step in the process, you have to modify your delivery, which means facial expressions, eye contact, gestures, body language, vocal dynamics. Everything must be aligned and congruent so that it is supporting your intention at any given moment. Whether your intention is to reprimand a child, to excite a client, or to inspire your friends. Congruence is essential with your communication. Now, technology is going to continue to change the ways in which we communicate. Artificial intelligence, data, nanotechnology, All of these things are changing the way we send and receive information. In the next decade alone, artificial intelligence is going to have a $1.2 trillion impact on the global economy. And that is a huge, huge number. Take a look at that device right there. This device that you're looking at on the screen is called the alter ego, and this was developed by scientists at MIT. And you know what this thing does? It reads your mind with up to 92% accuracy. And it does so by detecting your brain waves and picking up the signals of the words you are saying in your head before you even say them. Now, while this development might be a great thing for someone who has lost the ability to communicate due to an illness or a disease, it also carries with it some darker implications. The question we have to ask ourselves is this technology enhancing or destroying our communication? In the future, how will we know when a speech or a speaker we're watching on television is real or created through artificial intelligence? How will we hit our bullseye with our communication in the year 2030? And what if one day the alter ego that can read your mind is no longer this weird, awkward headpiece strapped to the side of your head? What if down the road it's smaller and fits right in your pocket? What if it looks like, oh, I don't know, how about that? And now, let's take it a step further. And now this isn't in your pocket anymore. Now it's in my pocket. And I can read every single private thought you have going on in your head before you even say a word. To navigate this very scary, very quickly changing world of communication and technology, we are all going to need to do two things very effectively. Number one, we're going to need to be mindful and moral about how we use technology when it comes to communication. And second, we're going to need to be smart and skeptical, not only about how we receive information, but how we validate it. Are we killing communication? The answer is not yet. But technology is meant to enhance and not replace human interaction. And if we are not careful in the ways that we combine technology and communication going forward, we're all going to have a very treacherous, dangerous landscape to navigate. Remember, the archer doesn't blame the target when they miss. To improve your aim, first, improve yourself. Thank you.